All right, internet land. I see a lot of people asking about the China top ends and what's the best aftermarket top end to get and blah blah blah. And I hear about highway cylinders and Meteor and this and that. So I've got a handful here. I'm doing some China clones, and I thought I would show what's on the inside. Now, this is a standard Orange G372 clone, pre-assembled. I actually think the fit and finish on it is pretty nice. Um, and this over here is a Farmac. So this is the top end off the Farmac. This is the top end that I actually really like for porting. And then this is the standard, this cylinder here. Let me drop these screws out of here so I don't lose them all. So this is how it comes off the saw. So not great, not fantastic, but not terrible for the money. I mean, semi decent finish in the ports. You can pause and zoom in there if you want. The shapes are okay, but this is a good baseline to port from. The plating's not terrible. It's not too hard. The numbers usually aren't wildly out of spec. I usually have to do a fair bit of grinding in the uppers on these anyhow. But externally, I mean, you can see it's got a little droopy there. Not overall a bad option for porting. If you want to run them stock, I'd do what you want. Ask somebody else. This is the Neotech cylinder. Now, this cylinder isn't going back on this saw. You can probably already see it there. There is a nice big gouge in just the runtime that it had at the factory. There you go. You can see it below the exhaust port. It's a little bit above the exhaust port too. The port casting is not great. You can see that booger in that upper. The intake is kind of sloppy. And the issue I usually see with these is port numbers are awful, and oftentimes the plating is just, it gets down on the ports and it gets really hard. But this one isn't terrible. The band is somewhat good. It's a nice area, although it's tapered. There is a lot of pitting in it. But because the piston was installed backwards, and yeah, there we go. You can see it's scratched up from just however little bit of time they put on it in the factory. That ring actually has a lot of excess of where you see that bright spot right on the end. So, but the external fit and finish, you can see there on the top of the intake lip, they just didn't machine it any farther. Didn't bother to go back and deburr that. I mean, I just broke it off with my thumb. So, there's those. The Farmax, the Neotech stuff, I've had some that turn out to run really well. I've had some that are just an absolute pain in the neck. So, the ones I like, I've got one on my 466 clone there's been videos on. I race it like Sawfest firewood stuff. I call these the Facebook boxes. The cylinders that I tend to get in these, and I don't know what's different or where they're coming from, obviously made in China, these aren't priced terribly bad. For aftermarket, they're about as cheap as you get. But this is what came out of the box. Good external finish. They take the time to, I'm guess, blast them or do something to finish them. There's no excessive burrs. The plating inside looks good. The band is not great. But again, I'm going to machine this. I'm going to port it. Slightly better than the Neotech as far as casting boogers go. But decent looking shape. The downside to these kits on the 372s that I don't like is they do come with the double ring piston. I would prefer, like this one, a nice single ring, the 371 style. And since this will be a work saw that somebody will end up buying, I'll just run the stock piston in it. If it was a firewood racer, I'd probably go with the 268 swap because I've had good results doing those. But anyhow, let you get a good look in that exhaust port again. I like, for China aftermarket stuff, these tend to be the best place to start. So there you go, a look inside some China junk.